Ashton United TV, joined by manager Michael Clegg, looking ahead to the 2022-23 pitching in Northern Premier League season. Michael, what's the aim for this season?
Well, we've got a good group. I think positional wise in the table be hard to know, but I think we know where we want to be better. We think we've aimed to score like 15 to 20 more goals this season and look to keep that number out of the net as well. So I think if we can do that, we're pretty confident we could make a anything between 18 and 22 point swing on where we was last year as an absolute minimum, really.
We've looked at that by bringing in two strikers in Callum Saunders and Jack Kenny.
Yeah, two completely different players, if I'm honest, Matt. Callum is someone we've come up against a few times. Kind of known, to be honest, a bit unfairly, he's kind of known as just a goal scorer, a bit kind of fox in the box type. But what I've been really impressed with Callum is, one, his professionalism and how he's bought into what we're about, and two, that his football brain and the way he brings people into play. He's good in the air. He's great having changing rooms. He's a very well liked lad. So made up with Callum.
Obviously brings quite a well-known supporter with him as well, and his dad Dean.
He does, yeah. We obviously we had the golf charity day, didn't we? So I was lucky enough to be in his four-ball, and some of the stories, I mean, he had us in tears. He's a great bloke. But then on the other side of it, I had 4.5 hours walking round, and he gave me some really good things to think about as a young manager still. So I was really grateful for that. So them type of things and learning off people like that are always invaluable for myself as well. Absolutely.
And obviously cup competitions last year were a little bit of a swings and roundabouts, really. Out of the first round in the FA Cup, first qualifying round against Hebburn, all the way to the third round in the FA Trophy, where we were still arguably unfairly knocked out here, and then obviously all the way in the Manchester Premier Cup.
Yeah, the FA Cup come at a really bad time, didn't it? We had Stafford and Stalybridge on the Saturday, Monday, and then that on the and we were really struggling for numbers, weren't we? And it was a glorious day, and it was dire. I look back at that game, Matt, and it was a real low point for me, the FA Cup. It's something I've never really done that well in yet. And then obviously when we got knocked out by Guiseley at Woodward, last kick of game, should have had another penalty in the first half to put us 2-0 up after like 15 minutes. It would have done, and it swings and round. And then after that we lost, I think, Tom Warren for rest at season with a really nasty tackle. We lost a centre half through a red card tackle on like 75 minutes, and yeah, tough night that for us. But I think then the Premier Cup, we went and won it. So and that rescued a poor season for us all. Some good highs and some horrible lows in a season, but I think as a club kind of found our soul again.
I was going to say that we definitely felt it around the club, yeah. When that Monday night after being down at Broadhurst Park, coming back to the crossbar, and it was the one club mentality that the club are trying to stride towards.
Oh yeah, definitely. And Matt, look, like, I'm conscious of like a lot of that comes from what goes on the pitch, and look, since I've been in here it's just not been good enough, and COVID come that first season. I think had we won 11 out of 13 or something, and COVID ended it when Don McHale was unbelievable here at home against Mickleover. Then the second season, it was hard because you felt like, when you was in the moment, you felt like everyone was up for it. But I think when you look back, everyone knew that season was never really going to happen, and there's another real shambles. And then last year, I think when you went on the 2 runs in the Northern Prem that we did, showed that the team we wanted on the pitch from the start of the year worked, but it just weren't on the pitch enough. So we had a big shake up in summer. It was tough, obviously, as well as players. They become your friends. So obviously letting people like Tom Bentham go weren't easy for me personally, but I'm made up now. I think he's got 8 in 4 for Trafford already, and Tom needs to be like a big fish in a little pond and be loved and know he has that 9 shirt, and I just can't guarantee him that this season, and so I'm happy with that. And then Jack's started off well at Hyde, which we're happy about. Rains is obviously doing great things in coaching and still playing a bit and what have you. So yeah, it was a tough summer, but it was something we wanted acts on, and we did it pretty fast this year.
You mentioned the tough summer and obviously the shake-ups that happen, a streamlining of your coaching staff as well. It's a coaching staff, it's just now yourself, Andy Hilden, former Bolton man Nicky Hunt, we once Mark Ronaldo, I don't know if he's mentioned it. But you know, What sort of dynamic does that give now in the dressing room and on the training pitch?
Too many opinions last year. What happened is COVID gave us a lot of time to do a lot of thinking, so we used it as a platform to go out and work out ratios in leagues, goals to be scored, goals to be conceded, who offers what, where and when, player analysis on other teams, everything, and it were good, and it gives us a good solid base which we're still working with now. But I just felt like last year the dynamics of the staff, we're always close, and the people who were great, but three of us can do it, you know. And the tough decisions what you have to make, because you know me, I've been here 2.5 years and I'm all in. So if you become one of my staff members, you become one of my mates. We'll go out for meals together, we'll take kids out together, whatever it is, go to parties together, go out after football. So that was tough, but it was a good time for each of us as well, because I think with his job, you know, see him sacrifice so many holidays at work and that to come here, and one of the best lads you'll ever meet. We're still great friends away from football, but Coles is a perfect fit for him. It's 2 minutes from his house, and he's got a lot of mates there, and it's just perfect for him to do what he wants to do. Ealdy was really keen on wanting to take that side, so Ealdy does that now, and me and Unty are looking after all of the football.
Yeah, absolutely. Does it? I know we asked you this question last year, but I'm going to ask it again. Does it make a difference in the dressing room having someone like Nicky around that's got so much experience, not just in professional football but in top level Premier League football? Yeah,
100%. And I think what's good is we're really close as a trio as well. So it won't always be necessarily it's my way or the highway. We'll chew it out between us and see what's what. But I think the thing is with Unty, it's his persona, very calm, gets his points across well, and we plan pretty well. Like, to be honest, Matt, if you followed us week to week from Saturday to Saturday, our game day is the most relaxed we all are, because the prep what goes in to the week, it's just like, well, I'm on to you, aren't I? How quick can I have the game? And that's not because I'm my room, so then I can get that so then we can analyse that Sunday, so we can feedback then on Monday if we've got a game Tuesday. If we've not, we can have it for Tuesday dinner, go through it Tuesday at training, and then work on it Thursday and take it into a Saturday game. So our analysis guy works remote, so me and Unty will kind of let him know what kind of things we want to look at, how we're playing, so then he can analyse. And he's very impartial, doesn't want to get to know the group, so there's no favouritism. So it can be brutal, our analysis, but pre-season lads have loved it, really bought into that. Adam, who does our scouting of opposition, as thorough as they come, we'll always try and watch everyone at least 2 times before we get round to play them. So he's been obsessed with Liver's Edge and South Shields over the last few weeks. He's covered every of their games. So we're as ready as can be. But I think that the staff what we've got now is brilliant. It's nice and condensed. We're all on the same page, and we know where we want to be.
Looking back then at pre-season, a tricky game to start with,
yeah,
with Crewe here, but then a great win against Curzon.
Yeah, we were good. I think that day it was a team from a lower league beat a team from an high league. I think we got in the faces, we made it really hard for them, we pushed them back, and then what was great for us, obviously, we got our goals when we was 10v11, and from that we kind of built a bit of team spirit and a bit of togetherness. And I know people look at it, think pre-season results don't matter, and they don't matter, but that we gained some spirit from it, which was really encouraging.
Tricky couple of games to end it though, 2 or 3 games without scoring. We mentioned goals earlier on. Is that a worry going into Saturday and going into tomorrow and Liversidge?
Well, obviously we had a behind closed doors game Saturday, which we've just made no details about. So we played a team in our league, and that went really well. And I think in them games, I think your Glossop away was really tough, and then Widnes at home was poor, and we'd had 3 games. It was the heat wave, weren't it, the week before? So we moved the Tuesday game to the Thursday, and then had Thursday, Saturday, Tuesday. And then that was probably the worst weekend to do it, as 3 or 4 of the squad was away. So like 14 lads did the 90 minutes between them, and it was tough, and you could see that they were on it was just poor Widnes. So that was the low point. But I thought first half hour here against Hanley, I thought we was very, very good. We've managed to blood some 21s, give them minutes, have a look what's what. We've got through a couple of trialists, and then we've built some real solid units and some really solid foundations. I think, you know, either side of the pitch has done well, got us goals, got us assists. I think our defensive structure's been really impressive. And then, to be fair, Jack and Callum haven't played that much together still, but I think they're going to give you, as a duo, they'll give you everything you want. Jack will press, hold the ball up, win headers, Callum will get in and around him. And then, so we've really enjoyed it. It could have been better scoreline, but I think where we want to be, it's Thursday night now. We start the season on Saturday and we don't have one injury, and that was how we wanted it to be.
That's a change from the past few seasons as well.
That's it. And again, we've really changed pre-season this year. So the first 4 week of pre-season, we only did 2 sessions a week. Your third session was remote, which we logged on the art monitors and on the apps. So you got your homework. You could do it between 6 a.m. and 10 at night, as long as it were logged. Again, it brought togetherness, because I think there was a couple of nights where I was getting to 8 o'clock and a couple of lads are on group saying, listen, a couple of you have not done your work yet, and they were like, I know I've worked late. So that they really bought into that. But then these last 4 weeks we've really upped it, 3 nights a week, our games, so it's been bang on. Look, proof will be in the pudding, Matt. We can all talk a good game at this time, but we feel that pre-season this year we've made a lot different to the last few years. Yeah. And we're really happy with it. Absolutely.
And looking ahead then, obviously we mentioned a couple of signings before in Callum Saunders and Jack Kenny, but there's not just those that have come in. Heart of defence, Matty Regan making his second spell at Hurst Cross, and Niles Battersby, who was obviously with you at Atherton as well. What do we expect from those two?
I'll be honest, Matty Regan's probably one of the best centre halves I've ever worked with. He's become kind of the dad of the group. He really has. He's from the first minute. I think he's got a decent relationship with Coltsy. Niall and Birdie are going to him for advice. He's very vocal, very positive and good to have around the dressing room, and football ability, he's unbelievable. To be honest, I think Reegs will probably be my standout man from pre-season. Absolutely.
And then James Bailey slotting in on the right hand side, and you put James in with Cole Lonsdale and with Tom Warren. It's 3 fantastic fullbacks there.
Well, that's it. I think the thing is with Bales, when I spoke to him at the end of the season, he was gutted to be left out of the playoff final at Warrington, and he didn't think he had his best end to a year last year. We've been a fan of him for a while. We tried to sign him last year, which didn't end up happening because he was so pivotal in their side, and so once we got it done, we knew what we could get out of him. And I mean, he's come back in incredible shape. I think he'll tell you himself it's the fittest he's been. He's so impressed with him fitness wise, but it's just the quality he brings, the quality he has on the ball. I mean, the goals he's scored this pre-season, I mean, obviously I know it was behind closed doors, but he scored an absolute screamer Saturday morning as well. And then he put the ball in for Ben Off's goal against Hanley and what have you. So, again, he just adds quality. And going into last year, we started the season with Stav. Stav went away because of COVID's back to Australia for a couple of months. We had Adam Senior in and then got dragged from under our feet. So it was a position we wanted to nail down early doors, and we did that, and he was our #1 target. So when we got him, we was buzzing with that.
And obviously as well, you got Ben Hoff and Max Harrop in midfield.
Ben, well, I've literally not enough nice words to say about Ben. He's come in as part of the trio, but he's good mates with Cal Saunders as well. I think they play golf together and that. And I think if you could describe a young lad in non-league who you want to work with, he'd be that. He does what you ask. He's very humble. He's hard working. He's got bags of quality. He's so young. He's only 19, but he's hard as nails. He'll do for me. Ben's problem playing for me is going to be I expect so much of him now from standards he's set pre-season. I've told him that. So obviously Ben will be starting Saturday, and that's what he wanted. He wanted to start first game of the season. He wanted to keep his shirt, and after pre-season he will be doing that. He'll be starting, and I think he deserves it. And I think with Ben, he probably at that age now, where he needs to be told, listen, you know, you're going to have 5, 6, 7 games in there, so don't worry about making a mistake. Go and miss a couple of chances or do whatever it is you want to do, but just play with a little bit of freedom without that one mistake and you're on bench next week.
So looking ahead then to the Northern Premier League as a whole, Michael, obviously you say you know where you want to be, and you know we're not going to put that on record now because you don't want to set yourself up for a fall, but who do you expect to be at the top and who do you expect to be at the bottom?
I'll be honest, I think everyone knows South Shields will be up there, and I think other than that I wouldn't have a clue. I honestly wouldn't have a clue. I think there's a lot of teams recruited really well. I think the teams who have gone, Buxton, Scarborough, Baseford, Michelova, Grantham, was all decent sides. Then they've been replaced with, for us, good with more local sides like Liversedge, who we go away to absolutely smash their league, but then everybody knows how strong Marsk was, who comes second. Marine and Ryland's really strong from the west, who their games, and I know them kind of, I won't say inside out, but I know them teams a lot more than I do your Basefords and your Granthams. So I honestly won't like to say. I think you go through everyone and everyone looks on paper like they've strengthened. I think Hyde have done some good business. I think Radcliffe have done some really good business. Rylands have made some incredible signings.
42-year-old Kevin Ellison signing for Rylands. And
then Stafford have announced 6 today who are strong lads. They're going to, I think Whitby have done some good business, but they've lost the top scorer. Morpeth have looked like they've done some great business, but lost the top scorer to a shoulder operation. So I'll be interested, but Lynchy does a great job there. I think Morpeth could be your surprise. I thought once they got it together last year, they gained some momentum. It won't be a surprise to me, by the way. It just might be a surprise from people who was not as clued up on the league. But no, I wouldn't. And down at the bottom, I mean, well, if you look at the predicted tables, they fancy it to be pretty similar, don't they? A lot have put us down there and that, but we're a lot stronger than we was last year. A lot stronger. I think this group's 20 points stronger. They're a lot more clean sheets stronger. We've got strength in depth. I think the back line all pre-season have been solid. They've got a really good bond, and they're stopping crosses, they're stopping shots, they're happy defending at times, and you've got to be like that in this league. And I think this league's about being patient and just waiting and waiting and waiting, and that free-flowing football, as we know, doesn't always happen in this league. You want to play it when you can, but I think it's about having solid foundations and just biding your time.
You mentioned the strength in depth there. It almost looks as if we've got, you know, we could have almost put 2 sides out with 2 players in, or 2 or 3 players in each position.
Yeah, exactly. And I think budget-wise, it won't allow us to do that for much longer than 2 to 3 weeks. So I think naturally you'll lose a couple. And I think I speak for all NPL managers when I say this. We're at a level now where if a few lads don't make squads or don't play, they literally can go anywhere in the same league or league below or even league higher and get in a squad and what have you. So that becomes difficult. So I think you kind of find everyone will be in it together early doors, and then whoever wins the first 5 or loses the first 5, some will leave there for go higher, and some lads who don't play because they've won 5 on bounce will go to other teams, and so there becomes a bit of a shift and people start sorting themselves out then. But I think for us, the main attribute we search for this summer in a player was availability, especially after what we endured last year. I'm a manager who likes consistency, and I think if you told that an Ashton fan, they'd think you were mad off what's happened since I've been here. But
42 players last season.
Exactly, and I think I only used probably 10 more than that in my 5 years at Coles. You know, so my team who won me the leagues, I could tell you a team like that. You know, so we're here. I wouldn't even be able to probably tell you them players who played last year, which was an awful situation being. So we sorted all that out in summer, and listen, Jack was a tough one for us in summer because we loved Jack, but that was a tough one for us in terms of what to do. And I think
that red shot,
yeah, because Jack become a massive part of the group and he really wanted to be here and we wanted him to stay, and then and then obviously on the back of that we opted to go another way. So that was a tough one because we do like Jack, but I hope he has a top year.
You mentioned the start of the season there, and it being vital to maybe attracting a couple of more extra on non-contract terms. It's a tricky start for Ashton, you know. Then first 2 games, you mentioned Liversedge before, first game of the season, who ran away with the NPL East, sorry. South Shields, who you've just said you think will run away with this league, and it's not getting easy from there.
No, and
Rylands, Warrington Town as well.
No, but then another way I look at it is it's great having them now. Get at them early doors. You know, some teams take a while to settle in. Listen, when we go Liversedge on Saturday, we're going to be very tough to beat. I think they'll, you know, I'm not saying we're going to win the game, but I think if they want to welcome to NPL, they'll probably look at us as a perfect fixture for them. A team who finished where we finished last year, and they'll be loving that. But I've been Liversedge, I've been the team who won that league and come up, and I'll tell you what, their changing rooms will be like Saturday. They'll be well up for it. The first game at this level in front of a packed house, we're going to have to out-battle them, we're going to have to win second balls, we're going to have to be well up for it because I've been that manager.
And of course that was here.
That was it, yeah. So we're going to have to be well up for it. And then people talk about South Shield's second game. That's going to be incredibly tough, but I think since my reign here, barring the 4-0 FA Cup defeat, we've done really well against South Shields here, and we're happy defending.
2 wins and a draw, I think it is, off the top of my head, with Echo Cookers like 88th minute.
So, and we're happy defending as a group. We love it. I think that's probably where we're at our best. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a tough start, but for me, it's a game at a time. I've not even thought that much about South Shields yet. Everything's been into Liversedge. Everything's been into that nullifying that enthusiasm of theirs, what they'll have first 20 minutes, half an hour. I'm sure they'll have a big crowd on, they'll be well up for it. But listen, we've got a top group in there. Just took 3 lads from NPL playoff finalist team, so we ain't here mess about this year either. We won't be rolling over, that's for sure.
Absolutely not. Take the side step from the footballing side, with the greater goings-ons at the club. Obviously the women's team now under new management, but we sat on the pitch here, Michael, and you look at it, in my 5 years this is the best the pitch has ever looked.
They're incredible people. I mean, Finney's over here waiting for an hip replacement and dragging a nose across pitches. We're doing an interview. He's a nutter, but he's what a fantastic family they are. Obviously listen, I could go on and on. I think at the side of the football club we have something that we're all very proud of, which is Ashton United in the community, and I think everyone involved in that so special, every one of them. And I think I could go on forever about it. Like this week, Brewster and our physio doing kids sessions here through the day, Andy doing it with his lad Patrick. I think Carol's helping out with the food stuff, and your dad's obviously here day in day out, and Steve Hobson getting the grants and just kind of pulling it all together. And it's something, as a manager of the club, like it brings a real humility to us, because that type of stuff is spoken about in the dressing room. When they don't put a shift in, when they see the stuff everyone else is putting in around, that when people think, oh, do they know what we put in? Well, they 100% do, because first thing I make the new people do is know all your names, know everything what goes on around the scenes, and that minimum that they put in when they come here is effort, because it's a knowledgeable crowd here, and there might not be loads of us, there's only a few of us, but the people who come here, if you work hard for the badge at Ashton, you get accepted. They're pretty lenient on results, to be fair. I've seen that, but if you have a good game plan, put in good attitude and application, they'll have you all day long here, and I think it's not a lot to ask as a player. No,
absolutely not. And you mentioned Ashton United in the community there, the great work that the club's charity does around Hurst Cross and Smallshaw Village, and it's becoming so much more vital. The food bank, it's as high as it's ever been with current climate.
Yeah, I said to Andy, like this year, what I want to do is, obviously I've been mad busy, like at work over the last, since I come to Ashton. Kind of me and my mate have a business, and that started doing really well. But what I want to do this year is have a Tuesday morning off a month, and I want to come and help with the food bank, and I want to really ingrain myself in the community here, because with COVID and all that, I still sometimes feel like I'm new.
Come in it.
Yeah. I still want to do a bit more. So I've told Andy I want to help with that. And when he told me the amount of families who are being fed from here, it's staggering. it'd be great to do more, but I think as it stands, we're doing all we can and more. And I think it sums it up, Matt, our club. We don't shout from treetops about it. We just come, feed our 120 families every Tuesday morning, and we don't tell a soul. That's because we're good people. But I think the work what's gone in, it does need celebrating more. I think, like the MPL did a little clip on Lewis, didn't they, about what kind of Ashton's done for him, and that goes to show what this level of football's all about. Patrick was here before putting all chairs out and that. I can't help but laugh. So because he's put a few chairs out, it's ended up costing me and Eildy a pair of Ray-Bans because he liked Eildy's Ray-Bans for doing it. So, but that's this level, and that's what it's all about. And when you're here, you've got to buy into it, and you want to make it as professional as possible. Of course you do, but at the same time, you want that familiarity with the fans, with the people who work around it, because it is just semi-pro football, and I think we've got a good balance here at the moment, and we need to start adding it on the pitch, and I think we could be good.
Obviously, newly formed supporters club, great ideas that the new chairman of the supporters club has brought to the supporters club, and you always mention it in every post-match interview. You mentioned Bamber Bridge away, that 1-0 win where Adam Senior scored after missing a penalty. The fans, you mentioned it, they get behind the team, and that's what they want the new supporters club to do. No,
but I mean, Luke's a top lad. I mean, he does a lot anyway, and I know Trish backed that up in the years gone by, and they're just a fantastic bunch. And I know, like, at times they're not everyone's cup of tea, but for me, they're great people. They support us through thick and thin, and I think last year it showed. In the two good runs we had, it was a real good connection, and that's where we've got a massive part to play as a team. If we make results on this pitch here, the rest all comes together nice and easy. Clubhouse will be booming after games, and at the end of the day, that is what we want, because as it stands, we want to get more people in, we want to get more points, we want to do more stuff in community, we want to get more fans on, we want to get more people in supporters club, and that's where I feel the pressure. That's my job, to make sure it's right on here.
You say bringing it back on here, then you mentioned the pitch. Then Saturday, tomorrow, Liversidge. Do you know your 11?
I know my 11, yeah, which is tough, and if you just seen them when we broke in this interview, what I was saying to the lads is, it's always the highlight of every player's season, that first game, but there's 20 lads here tonight.
Sorry, Matty Regan just scored a pearler of an overhead kick.
Was that him? Yeah. As I turned around, I've seen it. Yeah, and that's what I've just said to the lads. Body language is key. There's 20 lads here tonight, 20 lads available for Saturday, and only 16 can come. Yeah, so 11 are going to start that, and if we're 1-0 up or 1-0 down, I want the body language on the bench to reflect that. We're all in it together. You don't want the lad who's playing in your position having a stinker. If we win 3 games in each cup this year, we're going to be 55-60 games, so everyone will get the chance. The team will have to change Tuesday, win, lose or draw, because we've got a couple of lads on holiday and stuff, and that's the nature of this level as well. People keep going on like, oh, they paid well and that, but when you've got school teachers who play for you and all that kind of stuff, there's got to be a bit of leniency. So
how do you manage that?
It's tough, but what do you do, you know, especially when it's your loyal lads who don't miss a training session all year, but then the job's defined when they can take an holiday, and then it's kind of, I've gone a little bit the other way after COVID and that. Like, you've got to enjoy yourself. This is just football. Do we take it serious? Of course we do. I want to win every game and have everyone available every game. Of course I do. But as long as we manage it better, and like that I said to lads, people will have a time off in the season. It's life. Just make sure it don't happen where 10 of you have it together. Sometimes try and have a bit of an holiday file. Right, yeah, I was going to go away because I'm a school teacher. Right, make sure you don't go that week, because we don't try and ever have one off. And listen, I ain't going to be only manager in this league worrying about that next 2 or 3 weeks, because lads who play at our level all have jobs. So it is what it is. But I think on a whole, they're very committed bunch. Like Saturday morning, we'll meet here before the game, travel up together. Colts, he's got to come from side of Livers Edge's ground to here to go back. So I've got a lad coming in from Sheffield, you know, so the commitment's unbelievable from the lads. So I never question that. And I think after COVID and the couple of years we had, everyone's entitled to being on a sun lounger. Like I've just been last week. Some might look at that as not best build up before your season, but we've given it everything to this point, and I was having 7 days with my wife and kids. It just is what it is. So can't get too wet up on it.
Looking forward, this time next year we'll be sat here again having a similar chat. What are the 3 things you want to have achieved in the 22-23 season, whether it be league, cup, club, team, community, whatever?
I want to retain Manchester Cup 100%. I want
first round of the cup. That's
I'd love a first round. What does a good season look like to me? Probably a better question. First Manchester Cup, retain it. First round at FA Cup, never done it. Playoffs with these lot, I'd love it. I'd love to win a playoff.
Do you think playoffs is achievable?
Yes, I do.
Do you think first round of the cup's achievable?
I do.
And obviously the Premier Cup's achievable. We've done that.
Yeah.
You know, been there, done that, got the trophy.
I think this level, you're either side of it all the time. One goal either way. It's so many fine lines. Well, barring Buxton away and who was it?
Stafford, last game of the season.
All our games were tight. They were on a knife edge, every single one of them.
I think there was only 4 games last season that were more than 2 goals.
I game last year thinking, wow, they're miles ahead of us. Apart from Buxton away in December, we got battered. And Stafford end at season, it was what it was anyway. Season were done, we had a load of injuries. It was always going to end that way. So yeah, I think a good season for me looks like finishing 20 points better off minimum than last year, keeping a solid team out week after week, less injuries, more smiles on faces, less stressful Saturday nights for me, and then grow our fan base and really start building something. And I think what Ashton can do is they've got a good community, and I think if we can match on the pitch what's happening off the pitch, I think everyone will be happy.